आप सब बोल सकते हैं साथ में, एवरीबॉडी शुड। चैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मायं ददाति स्वं पदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपत्कमलं श्रीगुरेण वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रतं सगन्मनात्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सरभूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्णा पदान् सह गणललिता श्री विशाखान्वितमाश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमस्तते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुत देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभक्ष कृपा सिन्धुमेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते गोपाल कृष्ण गोस्वामी इति नामिने प्रभुपादस्य साहित्यं यः प्रकाशय वित्रीय च प्रचारं कृतवान् साधु भगवत्पदाय ते नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नामस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। गुरु महाराज की जय। सो आप सब जानते हैं आई एम राधिका कृपा, disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. I got initiated in Hindi में बोलूँ कि English में? Kids will understand. It's okay, everybody. You understand Hindi, no? Okay, then we'll go mix. Yes. So I'm disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. I got initiated in 2001. I met him in 1999. So 1999 में I met him, and how I became a devotee, I would just narrate that to you briefly. It was in 98 December. I'm from a Sikh family. I'm a Sadhani myself. You all know who Sikhs are. With turbans, just Sikh hote hain. I'm from that family. And in our house, we followed Granth Sahib. We had Granth Sahib in our home, but very liberal my parents were. So we would go to temples as well and go to have darshan in the temples on Janamashtamis and other days. So there was no hard and fast binding on us. And my father was a businessman, an exporter. And we had a very affluent family it was. And we would go for holidays to Europe at that time, and in school when I was. So we would go out, and it was like Singapore or to any place in Europe as well, in America, it's all. So I was quite fortunate to have been born in such a family. But my mother, she was being very religious. She would get up every day at 3:30 in the morning. I had seen her all my life getting at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and she would subah uthti thi, and then she would take a shower, and then we had a room for the Granth Sahib in our home. She would go and read that. Very pious lady and pure vegetarian she was throughout her life. And then she had taught me also to read a little bit of the portion every day in the morning before going to school, and going to bed also read something from the Granth Sahib. So I would always do that religiously. So then in 98, I lost my father. He was very dear to me. He was my best friend in my life. And he was just 65 and he passed away due to cardiac arrest. And then I had that very night at 3:30 in the night, like when he passed away, I was in the hospital when he was declared that he is critical. I had, since all my life, I did not know any mantra except then the Vaheguru that is given in the Granth Sahib. So I knew just that we should chant that. So I was sitting, I took a corner of the hospital, Gangaram Hospital, there is a very big hospital in Delhi. So I took a corner seat there in the lobby, and I just, for 3.5 hours, I was chanting Vaheguru, just asking, begging him, begging whosoever God is. I didn't know. And I was begging that please come for help, like a miracle may happen. I was praying for that. But then at 3:30 in the night, he was declared that he's no more. And I was totally shattered, and I had a lot of questions in my mind that came up. That very moment, I became a vegetarian. I just promised to myself that from today onwards, I'm going to be pure vegetarian. I don't know how that came up. Purity actually is the force. That's what I came to know later. But then my questions nobody could answer. Even the same night when they brought my father home, I was there, the body was brought, and I had these questions. I told my elder sister, eldest one, she's 9 years elder to me. So I told her, I said, Ki, we are born, and now Papa has gone away, and we are crying. I was just at that time 35. So I said, we are crying, and now next, when I'll go, my children, they were very young, they were like, my son was 6 years and my daughter was 10. I said, when we will go, they will cry. So what is this going on? It's a chain, Everybody is becoming, whosoever God is, he's making a fool of us. I said that. I said, he's making a fool of us, real fool of us, and we are getting fooled. We think, we are just here for crying, My father had a big empire. He came from, it was the partition done in Lahore, and he came here. He had a big business in Lahore, he told me. He was in school at that time. And he said they had a car in Lahore at that time, before partition. They had shops and car and a factory, and they would come for summer vacations to Shimla. And that was the summer vacation time that the partition happened, and they didn't go back to Lahore, and they stayed here, and they were nearly paupers. They didn't have money now. So then he started the whole business again and everything, and then they reached its peak, We had offices in Bombay, we had offices in Delhi, we had factories here. So he had established a huge empire, and then he's gone. What's the use of that, what he did? And these things, they were disturbing me. And I had the same night had all these questions. Who is God? Why do we take birth? And for what we have come? What's our purpose? And for those answers, I pestered everybody, my husband even. But he was so patient with me. He didn't say that, oh, you got really mad asking these questions all the time. I was running a business at that time. I'm a qualified fashion designer. So I was running my own very big business. Like, it was a nice, comfortable business I had. My husband had his business. They were real estate developers, and I had my own. Children were studying in school, in good education they were getting. But then these questions, they disturbed me a lot. So my husband helped me. I said, I want to search the answer at any cost. I want the answers. He took me to so many places. We used to go to gurudwaras early in the morning. We used to go to temples in the early morning. We would get up and go. I would ask him, get up and let's go. I was very restless. It would be 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I would say, let's go. Let's go to a temple. Let's go to a gurudwara. I want the answers. I would pick up from any place. I would pick up a book to read because I was finding the answers. But then I prayed to cut short, it was then I had prayed to Hanumanji. I went to Salesar Siddh temple there, and I tied a thread there and a coconut. You offer it and you ask your whatever you want. So people come for material things. I tied the thread and I said to Hanumanji, please reveal who God is. I want to see God. I want to know who He is. Then it was in the month of April. It was 99. 98 December, my father goes. 99 April, I went to this temple. And May 15th, 99, I was in Vrindavan. First time to ISKCON. First time in Vrindavan. And I had gone to see someone in Mathura. I had gone to see an astrologer in Mathura. I had heard there was a big astrologer there. My father-in-law told me. And then I went. I took my mother along, my sister, my Prabhu was there, my children. We all went, and I said, I want to meet this astrologer and ask him, like, what happens after death and where does we go? Where do we go? And does he know what happens? Because I was so inquisitive now. But then it was that we went to see him, but he was not at home. We didn't find him. His wife said he's gone out of town and he won't be back. today itself. So I said, what to do? We are in Mathura, so where do we go? So our driver said there is a very nice temple here. I said I don't want to go in crowds, I don't want to go in narrow streets, no crowds. I don't want to go there. So he said there is a very beautiful temple that's called Angrezo Ka Mandir. I'll take you there. And he took us there. And when we got out of the car, I don't know how come a devotee came and he said, this is your first time here in Vrindavan? I said, yes. He said, come with me. He took us to Prabhupada's Samadhi first. And he introduced us to Prabhupada, that this is Prabhupada. He founded ISKCON. Then he took us upstairs, Prabhupada's Samadhi upstairs. He handed a paper to me and to my Prabhuji. He said, on every petal, the lotus petal, you just chant this mantra. And we did the 108 times the mantra on Prabhupada Samadhi, around Prabhupada. Did first parikrama of Prabhupada, first mantra chanted there around Prabhupada. And then he took us inside. He showed us Gornitai. I didn't understand who they are. Then he said, this is Krishna Balram. Wo thoda bahut samajh aaya because I had a picture in my home. I got a nice Udiya painting, I love to have the interior decoration in our house. Interiors is all very traditional. So I would go to emporiums and pick up very traditional things. And there was a beautiful Udiya painting on a silk with Krishna and Balram. So I got that and loved it. So then he said, this is Krishna Balram. I said, oh, I know them. And then Radha Shyam Sundar. So when I saw Radharani, it was like I lost my heart to her. I prayed to her hard. I said, like, I have lost my father, but just take care, because now I could understand that he is God. And then he took us to Prabhupada quarters. So we went to Prabhupada quarters after that. And then this devotee kept on telling us, he showed us Prabhupada's bed. Then he took us more inside and he showed us that pond. And just next to the pond, there is a room where Prabhupada is writing something. He's sitting there. And then he was telling us, there is that palki where Prabhupada was taken to all the Sapta Devalayas when he had gone away. So that palki is lying there. And he told us all, and he was telling Krishna is Supreme Lord, and that's what Prabhupada has, Bhagavad Gita says. And he was telling us stories and lots of philosophy. And I said, yes, this was I was looking for. These are the answers I wanted, and I've got them. And then I said, I want to put this tilak. So he had a tilak in his pocket. He took it out. And from the pond, Prabhupada pond, he took water. And he put the first tilak on me from there. And then he said, please stay for the evening aarti. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, May 15th, very hot. He said, stay for evening aarti. It's blissful, it's very blissful. I asked my husband, he said, okay, we'll stay. Since morning till evening, we were inside the temple listening to the 24-hour kirtan. The whole day. Just in the afternoon when they closed the temple for a few hours, we were moved out. We sat outside in the guest house lobby, sitting on the floor. And then we moved back at 4 o'clock when the darshan opened. We were back into the temple. So we attended the 24-hour kirtan there. And then the evening aarti came, and we attended the whole aarti. And everybody was given a garland of flowers. The pujaris were giving out garlands after the aarti. I got a nursing pavitra from the Radharani. He said, this is for you from Radharani. And I got that, the first blessings of Radharani. And from that day onwards, I started chanting 16 rounds, me and my Prabhu. And then June came, then July came, and I was chanting. I was chanting and going to the temple in the evenings for the aartis. My Prabhu would come from office and we would go for evening aartis. And then we would be back. And in July, it was July, Guru Maharaj returns from America. Always he's in America, end of July or beginning of August, he would return to India. And we had in the Punjabi Bagh temple, there's a small temple where the deities were in a garage. And we were going to that temple. And we were, in July, when Guru Maharaj was back, he came for the Saturday feast lecture. And I didn't know who sannyasis are, because we were coming to ISKCON, but nobody was giving us any directions like who sannyasi is. Maybe they were just watching us, that if they don't want to rush with us, that we may go back if they tell us all this. So I was standing, I still remember, I was in my jeans and t-shirt. I was standing at the gates or near the, it was a very small temple. So you just have a small driveway and there was a garage, and the garage, there were deities. And I saw a sannyasi going with a crowd. He was surrounded by a big crowd. He went in the temple and he came out with a flower in his hand. And I was sitting at the, at an edge, From there, Guru Maharaj would turn and go into the hall to give lecture. I was just standing there. Guru Maharaj came straight to me. He looked into my eyes, gave the flower. Without any, I took the flower. I didn't know what to do with it. I just took it. I never bowed down, nothing. I didn't know even. And Guru Maharaj gave the flower, and without speaking anything, he turned away and he went inside to give the lecture. And I heard thoda sa lecture I heard, and then it was like after 9 o'clock there was a feast, but we didn't because children were at home. We just heard the lecture, and it was all crowded, and I never wanted to go into the crowds, and we came home. Next day was Sunday, and Guru Maharaj was in the temple. He stayed the night there, and every Sunday we would get khichdi prasadam from the temple. Prabhuji would take the casserole, get it filled, because kids loved the khichdi, the temple khichdi, they loved it. So Sunday breakfast was fixed for all of us, the khichdi from the temple. So he went as usual. It was Sunday. He went to the temple and I stayed home because kids were, it was Sunday and kids were at home and they were not yet ready. And he went away. So when he went to the temple, he met Guru Maharaj there. Guru Maharaj spoke to him. He was introduced to Guru Maharaj. And the temple president, B.N. Prabhu, at that time, there, B.N. Prabhu, he told him that they, husband and wife, they come regularly to the temple and they are chanting. So Guru Maharaj asked my husband, how many rounds you chant? He said, 16. And he said, my wife also chants 16 rounds. So Guru Maharaj said, I want to meet your wife. And Prabhuji called me up and he said, there is a sannyasi here, he wants to meet you. I said, I cannot come. It's like kids are at home and I'm not ready. It'll take me at least 15 to 20 minutes to get ready. And he told Guru Maharaj, she can meet you some other time. She cannot come. It's like going to take 20 minutes and you're in a hurry. You have to go to the big temple. So Guru Maharaj said, no, tell her I will wait. Tell her to come. And I came. Guru Maharaj gave me like 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes. He sat with me. I spoke to him and he kept on listening. And then it was, after that, I did not leave him. Then I was right. Everywhere he would go, we would be there. We would follow him to all the lectures, all his classes. I would sometimes call him up in the, by 9:30 or 10, I would come to know he's come back from Bombay or somewhere. He's in the temple. Everybody would feel that they cannot call Guru Maharaj. I would call him on his landline and he would pick it up. And I would say, Guru Maharaj, are you giving class tomorrow? And he would say, yes. And I'll see you then. And we would reach there. And then he would tell me, after the class, he would say, I'm going to my room. So that meant you come and meet me in my room. So me and Prabhuji would follow him, meet him in his room. And then he never kept a car for himself. There was no private personal car for him in the temple. कभी भी उन्होंने अपने लिए कोई अभी रिसेंटली बस 10-12 साल पहले उन्होंने एक गाड़ी अपने लिए रखना शुरू किया. He never used to have, only the devotees would take the services. They would pick him, they would drop him, they would take him for any program. They would all do the services. And we were so fortunate that we would grab those services. And he would never say no to me. And though I was and he always said, I don't sit with females. He always said that I don't sit with ladies. And when I would say, he would never say no to me. And it was a routine that we would pick him up, we would drop him, we would take him everywhere. And he would say, you're my emergency wheels. Sometimes Guru Maharaj ko kahin Vrindavan jana hai, subah 8 baje jana hai, to the phone would come at like 6:30 or 6:45, that be there by 8:30. Guru Maharaj has to reach Vrindavan by 10 o'clock. So be there by 8 o'clock. And we would rush over. I would send my kids or ask my mother or my grandmother-in-law to take care of them. And both of us would be gone. And sometimes it happened that we would take Guru Maharaj and he said, I'm just going for I'll be back in the evening with you. और फिर वहाँ जाकर कहते हैं, no, you people go, I'll have some work, I'll come tomorrow. So I would say, no, Guru Maharaj, we will stay. We brought you, we will take you. And once it happened, we did not carry clothes because he said, I'm coming back, so I never carried any change with me. And when he said tomorrow I will go, and he said, you people go. I said, no, Gurumad. We bought fresh clothes from there, and the next day we were there. Likewise, 3 days we kept on buying clothes, and then we came back with him. So, or I would wait for hours and hours, sit outside his room if he was busy in the meeting, and he would say, I will see you later. I will meet you all later. And once my daughter's exams were there, I wanted her to take blessings. So Guru Maharaj was busy in GBC meetings at that time. And Guru Maharaj sent the messages that I'm very busy, I'm very busy. And he was asking, where are they? Have they gone? And they said, no, they are still waiting. They are outside, they're waiting at the steps. And then Guru Maharaj, it was like 9:45 in the night. Then he said, okay, call them here in the meeting itself. She will take the blessings of all the Vaishnavas here. And then we were invited inside the meeting, and then Guru Maharaj blessed my daughter and the family. From all the Vaishnavas, he said, take blessings. So he always I have written last year, my devotees were asking me to write all my memories because I've got plenty of memories. So they were all asking me when we would sit with them and would narrate all the stories of Guru Maharaj. So all devotees started asking me, "Ke likho inko, write them down, pen them down." And Guru Maharaj was sitting, I was sitting, and Guru Maharaj was eating, and I was there serving him. So I said, Guru Maharaj, they are all asking, they were sitting there, those brahmacharis, I said, they are asking me to write a book, all the memories with you. Should I write it? And Guru Maharaj, I had a very special, Guru Maharaj would laugh and he would joke with me, and he would, in fact, I was just telling you that he would, my husband ki agar leg pulling karna hai, to me and Guru Maharaj would side with each other and we do his leg pulling. तो Guru Maharaj को मैंने कहा वो ऐसे कह रहे हैं कि मैं लिखूं. And then Guru Maharaj looked at me and he said, I don't remember anything. I said, Guru Maharaj, and I don't write fiction. I only write, I can't write anything that is false, And I don't like to write fiction. I write from my heart, And Guru Maharaj smiled. And when I wrote this book, Memoirs with My Spiritual Father last year, Guru Maharaj was so happy when I handed that book to him on the Vyas Puja day in 2023. He was so happy. And I had written another 2 books I wrote that year, Guru the Spiritual Father. And he asked me the title for my book when I asked him for a foreword for that book. He said, what's the title, Radhika Krpa? I said, Guru the Spiritual Father. And he looked at me and again gave a smile to me, he said. And then we have that epic picture when I offered him that book on the Vyas Puja day. That book is in his hand, Guru the Spiritual Father, and he's just giving a very beautiful smile, a divine smile. And then this year in March, I told Guru Maharaj, I'm writing another book, Guru Maharaj, I'll offer it to you on Vyas Puja. And he said, what's the title, Radhika Krpa? I said, it's Death the Unstoppable. He said, very nice title. But then he was not there when I offered the book. Physically, he might not be there, but he's always with us, I know. And Radhanath Maharaj took the book to him and offered it to him. So Guru Maharaj had lots and lots of beautiful moments with us. My Prabhu makes very beautiful temples. Guru Maharaj wanted him to make temples. When I got initiated, I always wanted, my name is actually Randeep. So I never liked my name, material name. I used to fight with my father, what kind of a name it is. I don't like it at all. So he would often say, you can change it. But I said, now I've got all the certificates, every degree is in this name. I don't want to change it now. And then I knew when the initiation happens, the name will change. It will change. So I was praying to Radharani to please give me your name. I prayed very hard to her. And my children knew it, my husband knew it, that I was asking for this name. But I did not have the courage to tell Guru Maharaj, of course, I want this name. And I told myself, whatever name he gives, I'm going to accept it. I will not ask him to change it. I will just accept it. I had told myself that much. But particularly when the Diksha was about to happen, it was to happen at the Garudji in the big temple, that place. And I chose a seat from where I could see Radharani directly, because I was talking to her throughout my initiation. I was looking at her and telling her, please give me your name, don't forget. So I was chanting and telling her. And then first my Prabhu got initiated. So his name was Rasa Priya Das. And Guru Maharaj gave him a slip. On that it was written Rasapriya Das, and Maharaj read the meaning. He said, servant to the Lord of the dances. And he got his name. And then when my turn came, I went to Guru Maharaj. I have a full video clip with me. My children were making the video at that time. And I went to Guru Maharaj, and then I said, I told him all the vows. He asked me the questions. I was telling him the answers. And then he said, your name is Radhika Krpa. And I got like, I couldn't believe it. But he did not give me the slip. He just crushed it and kept it there. And now I was very inquisitive that why did not I give me the slip? So initiation ceremony was over, and there was a bulletin board out there, a pin board, and the list was there of the names, material names and the spiritual names. If you have missed it, you can go and read it. So I went there and I wanted to know what's written there. So when I was reading, there was written in front of me, my name, Ras Mandli Devidasi. And I was looking into it, and I don't know how Guru Maharaj came and stood next to me. And he said, what are you looking at? I said, Maharaj, I'm looking, is this my name or the one you gave me? That's my name. Guru Maharaj said, your name is Radhika Krpa. That's your name. And I still could not believe that. And I went to Sri Balram. I don't know how many of you know Sri Balram. He was serving Guru Maharaj, a Russian boy, just a 17, 18 years old boy from Russia. And he was Guru Maharaj's secretary at that time. So he was just like a son to me. And I said, Balram, just tell me, what's the story about my name? How did it get changed? He said, your name was to be Rasmandli Devidasi. That was, we had selected on the computers, we had that. Guru Maharaj changed your name on the Vyasasana. He simply changed it there when your turn came. So Radharani is the Guru Tattva. I understood that day that Radharani speaks through the Guru. So we have no ordinary Guru. He is the, jo hum sansar davanal padhte hain, Guru Vastakam padhte hain. He is the most confidential servant of the Supreme Lord. He serves them in the Madhurya Ras. He's serving them in the Kunjas. So that is why Radharani could send him this message and he could give that name. So because of that, he is not an ordinary soul. Guru is not an ordinary soul that day. And I have so many instances that I really, I love to glorify Guru Maharaj since the day one. It's not that he's gone and I'm glorifying. Once I was going for his Vyas Puja, there was in Delhi. So the Rohini temple also wanted to celebrate at that time, like I'm talking about 4-5 years back. So more than that. So Rohini temple said, ki we will also, because many people could not come for the glorification in the big temple. So we have also arranged a program now for those who did not go there, they must hear Guru Maharaj glories here. We will celebrate the Vyas Puja here as well. So they invited me to come and speak. So I was at the big temple. Guru Maharaj was giving a class. After the class, I met him. And Maharaj said, are you going home now? I said, no, Guru Maharaj, I am going to Rohini temple. He said, why? Why are you going to Rohini now? I said, Maharaj, to glorify you. And he laughed. He smiled. I said, Maharaj, they have kept the Vyas Puja. They're celebrating it tonight. Some of them could not make it to the Vyas Puja, for your Vyas Puja here. So they are celebrating. And they've asked me to come and glorify you. So I'm going to glorify you. So he was smiling. And then even in the initial days, Guru Maharaj I would invite him and he would come to our house. I've never counted the times he has come to our house. I have lost all the track of that. He would come, I would invite him and he would say, sure, I will come. And just for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, it's according to his timings, he would come. I would ask him, he had come for a program and that program ended by 11:30 or so in the night. And I requested him, just 5 minutes. And he said, because there was another god sister with me, she was Gujarati, she lived in Vrindavan now, she's from Washington only earlier. So she had moved to Vrindavan and she was at my place to attend Guru Maharaj programs. So she only told me, Radhika Krpa, why don't you tell Guru Maharaj to come to your place just for 5 minutes? I said, okay, I'll tell him. So I went to Guru Maharaj and said, Maharaj, just for 5 minutes. He said, okay. And while going to the temple, he came for 5 minutes to our home. And then we are just standing and we are laughing. I've lost that video. It was a beautiful video. My son had made it. And we were all laughing and then Guru Maharaj was laughing himself. And he would talk to me like it was like a daughter, no? And she was there, so we had a very nice talk, and then Guru Maharaj left. So Guru Maharaj was, once he came to our home, and then he was there. So at that time I had just started giving lectures, because when I was not initiated even, Guru Maharaj told me to give lectures, because the temple, Panjabi Bagh temple, was small. And I said, Guru Maharaj, there are not many people from, it's a very posh area where I stay, but then not many people come. And I myself never knew about this. And I went to Vrindavan first, and then I started coming here, because it was such a small, tiny place, and I never thought of even going inside and see what's happening there. So Guru Maharaj said, I said, nobody comes here from Punjabi Bagh itself. People from other places, they do come here, but not from Punjabi Bagh. So Guru Maharaj said, why don't you preach? I said, how can I'm so new myself, and I'm not perfect. Guru Maharaj said, you will become perfect. You start preaching. And I don't know, I was not initiated, and I was made to sit on the Vyasasana and give lectures. And I started taking up Prabhupada's small books and making very nice notes out of them, and then inviting people for art of mind control, art of such things. I would make the banners and put them on the pin boards. So likewise, the news, of course, went to Guru Maharaj, everything. He knows everything. And then I started giving lectures, and then he would tell me, why don't you do you have your visiting cards? I said, no, Guru Maharaj, make your visiting cards. He would teach me everything. And then I made those. Then he would see them. Like he had, I was just a toddler in Bhakti, and he's taking so much of interest. He had itna zyada unke paas tha. He had such big ISKCON to handle, and I'm just a tiny being, there. But then he was taking full interest in my preaching, my Prabhuji and me. He was giving us full time. My Prabhuji would drive him. We would, once there was Rohini Rath Yatra, and we had gone to the airport to receive Guru Maharaj. So we went to take him, and then when he got off the plane, he said, other devotees were also there, but he was supposed to sit in our car and come with us. And he said, I will go to Rohini with you, but I have to pick up my specs from a shopping place. It was Lajpat Nagar. He said, I have to pick up because nobody else can go and pick it up. I have to get all the setting done. So should I go to Rohini first and then start the Rath Yatra? And then in the middle of the Rath Yatra, should I come back and pick up my glasses and then go back and rejoin the Rath Yatra? But Rohini was from Lajpat Nagar, it was like 1.5 hours. In traffic, it would take 2 hours. So I said, Guru Maharaj, it won't be, you should pick the spectacles, glasses first, and then we go to Rohini, and then whole day you will be there. So, but he kept on deciding, and then he finally decided what I asked him. And he said, okay, I'll go to that shop first. So we took him to that shop. He got his glasses. And then we came to Punjabi Bagh. Then he took a shower, and then we went to the Rath Yatra. And the Rath Yatra happened. It ended like in the night by 8:30, 9 o'clock. So we were there in the Rath Yatra, and now he was worried that it was the month of January and बहुत ठंड थी और बहुत fog थी. तो गुरु महाराज को ये था कि if we go to drop him back all the way from here, we go back, and then we have to come back again to our home. So it will be nearly, for us, it will be an exercise of 3 hours. So he wanted to, he could take a lift from the person who stays that side. If they take him, so they can just drop him to the temple. So he asked one devotee, I won't name him, he's our god brother. He asked him, he stays that side. He asked him that, could you drop me? I was there only, I could hear it. He was in the stage, Guru Maharaj was. And that his car was actually full. He had his wife and small kids. And he was also right in a sense that where could they go? But then if I would have been in his place, I would have told my family to take a taxi or a cab and go. And I would have dropped him. But then that person clearly said, my car, I won't be able to, Guru Maharaj. I have in my car is like, there are my wife and kids. So he said, my car is full. And I got I felt very bad. I there and then I was like scolding Guru Maharaj. I said, Maharaj, you will not ask anybody. We have promised you, we will go. Please do not ask anybody. And but he was so caring. Then after that, he went for prasadam to some devotee's home. So he asked that devotee, could you arrange ask somebody to drop me back? They'll have to go all the way and come back. And that person said, yes, yes, of course, I'll arrange it for you. I'll fix it up for you. And my Prabhu went outside and asked him, what arrangements are you going to make? Who's going to drop Guru Maharaj? It's very fog outside. It's very foggy. So he said, I'm arranging a driver. He will drop. And my Prabhu said, no way. I'm not letting Guru Maharaj go with a driver. I will go and drop him. Please don't get your driver. And Guru Maharaj told us, oh, he's dropping me. When we came back in the room, he came back. Guru Maharaj said, oh, it's all fixed up. He's dropping me. My Prabhu said, no, no, Maharaj, he's got a driver hired for you and I'm not letting you go with a driver. We will drop you. That's final. And we sat in the car, and me, and at the back there were Guru Maharaj had 3-4 Russian boys with him. They sat, and Maharaj's servant was there, and then Guru Maharaj in the front with Prabhu. And we drove him to the big temple. It was nearly, we dropped him by, it was 1:45, 12:30, 1:45, we dropped him. And throughout the way, it was very foggy. And our car's heater was not working. So the heater was not working, so there was frost coming up again and again on the windscreen. And now I was sitting at the back. Prabhuji was driving, so who would wipe off that frost? So Guru Maharaj was doing it with his own hanky. He was wiping off. So humble. And then we reached there in the temple, and then he said, no, you please go, both of you, run home now. Go to your kids. And then we came back home, like it was 2 o'clock, we reached home back. And then Guru Maharaj was always like, once I drove Jayapataka Maharaj, that's another story. I was driving Jayapataka Maharaj from the airport. And Jayapataka Maharaj questions me, have you driven your Guru Maharaj like this? I said, no, only in my dreams. And then we were actually, after a few days only, we went to drop Guru Maharaj to the airport. And he was sitting right in, I was at the rear seat and Guru Maharaj was there and his servant next to me and Prabhu was driving. So Guru Maharaj was sitting there and I could see in the rear, the mirror, side view mirror, so Guru Maharaj's face. And I told Guru Maharaj, I said, Maharaj, I went to drop Jayapataka Maharaj the other day to the airport and I was driving. And Guru Maharaj, Jayapataka Maharaj asked me, have I ever driven you like this? And I told him, and in my dreams only, I drive you. And Guru Maharaj laughed and laughed. I could see him in the side view mirror. When he used to laugh very heartily, his teeth you could see the big smile on the big laugh. And he laughed over my talks. So he was very, I was so like, Abibi recently, what happened, my husband was, for Guru Maharaj, he was cooking chapatis. He would bake a waffle for him. Guru Maharaj loved it. My Prabhu would make a waffle. And on many occasions, I've got pictures here, he's making waffle for Guru Maharaj and we're offering him. So Guru Maharaj, once we made a waffle for him, just a few months back, maybe in last winters in Rohini. So my Prabhu made a waffle and I took it to Guru Maharaj and I poured honey on it. And Guru Maharaj was taking bites and वो एक bite लेते थे. तो फिर next bite when he would take, I would pour again honey on it. I was sitting right there next to him and going on, he was eating and I was again pouring honey on it again and again. So I loved it, serving him like that. And he was, my Prabhu started making very nice chapatis for Guru Maharaj. Nowadays, he was eating very soft chapatis. So my Prabhu is expert in making a lacha parantha and without ghee. So it was just 1 spoon of ghee on top and it will crumble like this. It was very soft and very nice. So Guru Maharaj loved it. So my Prabhuji would make chapati like that and serve Guru Maharaj. So Guru Maharaj would tell his brahmachari servants, you must learn from Rasapriya, the chapatis. And then Prabhuji taught them also, gave them classes और सब brahmacharis को feast भी खिलाते थे. जब गुरु महाराज को प्रसाद खिलाने के बाद we would feast the all 8, 9, 10 brahmacharis, they would say. And Prabhuji would make all ghee wala paranthas for them. And then Guru Maharaj loved it and he would tell his servants, learn from him. You cannot make it. Last day also when he left, Sunday, when he left for, we had met him. Monday he was supposed to go to a doctor. Tuesday he left for Dehradun. That Sunday also the servant Parth Pran Prabhu says, Guru Maharaj asked for Rasapriya's roti. Rasapriya makes the best one. And on February 20, it was 2nd February, or I have the date with me, I have a picture where Guru Maharaj was coming out of the Rohini temple, he's going back to the big temple. So I was there, Prabhuji was there, and other devotees were there around him, surrounding him. So I always walked next to him, near to him. So Guru Maharaj just coming out, he said, Rasapriya, your chapatis are the best in the world. And I immediately said, Guru Maharaj, he's under the best training. And Guru Maharaj would laugh and laugh. I said, he's under the best training, Guru Maharaj. And then jab I started giving lectures, so once Guru Maharaj came to our home, and then my Prabhu was like, we had, once just like that, I was telling him something, lecturing him something, and he said, don't lecture me, you can lecture the whole world, not me. So I told Guru Maharaj, I said, Maharaj, he doesn't listen to me. When I tell him that, he says, don't lecture me. You can lecture the world, but not me. And then Guru Maharaj smiled at me and said, why do you lecture him? You tell me, I will lecture him. Oh, yeah, it's such nice time, Guru Maharaj would talk in such a sweet way. We would always be laughing, and in his company, I knew that we would always be, both of us, he would take care of us. Once we had I'm talking of the year, must be 2004 or 3. We had a small tiff, and we did not go for the Ram Navami day that day. And Guru Maharaj was doing the Abhishek there. And I was crying at home because I could not make it, Guru Maharaj. I knew Guru Maharaj was giving, and that time it was no, online coming live. It was not that. And I wanted to have his darshan. I was craving for it. So my Prabhu did not go. He went to the office. So he knew that I love to go, and he was giving me that pain, and I did not want to go alone. So at 1 o'clock, I called up. Guru Maharaj picked up the phone. And as I said, Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam Guru Maharaj said, blessings. And he said, where were you today? You did not come for the Ram Navami celebrations. I said, Maharaj, I say, this thing happened. I told him everything. And Guru Maharaj said, okay, in the evening, I'm giving a discourse. So I said, okay, Guru Maharaj. And I called up my husband. I told him, Guru Maharaj has asked us to come for the discourse. He's giving a lecture. And my Prabhu said, if you say sorry to me and drive both the ways, then I will come with you. I said, okay. And then what happened? I went with him. I drove the car. We went. And when we entered the auditorium, Guru Maharaj was on the stage. He was after the lecture, he was coming down. So he was coming down, and I knew that Guru Maharaj, I wanted to see because Guru Maharaj knew that what had happened. I had told him everything on the phone. My husband did not know that. Guru Maharaj knows everything. So I was walking with him. So as I saw Guru Maharaj, I just hid behind him. I wanted to see what is Guru Maharaj's reaction to him, how he's going to scold my husband for that. So my husband reached Guru Maharaj, and now he paid obeisances. And Guru Maharaj looked at him and said, where's your wife? So with a very harsh tone, Guru Maharaj was talking to him. And then he looked around, he said, she was here only, and then I was behind him. And then as I came forward, Guru Maharaj was so nice, so polite to me. He said, how are you, Radhika Krpa? Are you fine? And I was talking. And then my husband didn't know what had happened. So, and then Guru Maharaj said to me, I said, Maharaj, he said, I have to say sorry to him to come here. And he said, you should be sorry you married him. And now whenever he says, say sorry, I said, I'm sorry I married you. So this has been our journey, so the time ho gaya. There are so many things I have to say that the book is there, but all the books were finished off in Canberra. I could carry only 9-10 books. It's a big book, actually. This is a coffee table book. I've made a big book with 200 candid pictures of with Guru Maharaj. So there are, once there was Patiala Rath Yatra, and that was the first Patiala Rath Yatra in August 2000, April. So we were not initiated at that time, and it was there, or 2000 April or 2001 April, because I got initiated in 2001, Mokshta Ekadashi. So that was the day I got initiated, both of us. So it was April, and I got a phone call in the night. We get ki Guru Maharaj will go in your car with you to Patiala. So I was so thrilled, like Guru Maharaj will come with us to Patiala. And then in the morning, early morning, the phone rings up again, and no, Guru Maharaj is not coming with you because there is another devotee disciple who's got a brand new car and he has offered it to Guru Maharaj. He wants that offering to be done, and Guru Maharaj will go in his car. So I said, okay, but I was in a very off mood, like. But then I told my Prabhu that, but we will go to Patiala. In any case, we both of us will go because I love the Kirtan Guru Maharaj would do, and I would say, Ghar mein baith ke kya karna hai? Let's go and attend the Kirtan. And we went to Patiala. So Rath Ratra had started, and Guru Maharaj was on the Rath. And he was giving sweets to, I still remember there was barfi he was giving to everybody there. And he was just, people were in the queue, and they were, from the top of the Rath, he was dropping in their hands. I very coolly went and stand next to, in the queue. And I was like this. And Guru Maharaj, when he poured the barfi in my hand, then he looked at me and I looked up. And then Guru Maharaj said, it's you? You are here? I said, yes, Guru Maharaj. And he came down immediately from the Rath. He came with a flower from Jagannath Ji. And he, with a rose, he came down. He gave the rose to me. And I said, Maharaj, it's not nice you ditched us. You ditched us and you were supposed to come with us. He said, you see, I have to come to Patiala. From here, I will go to Chandigarh. I will spend 2 days in Chandigarh. Then I go to Ludhiana. I spend 2 days there. Then I come back. I go directly to Vrindavan, not staying in Delhi. Can you take me like this? He looks at me. I said, yes, why not? He said, no, no, first go and ask your husband. Then I asked my husband. And he said, why not? Of course, if Maharaj wants it that way, of course we can do it. And then he also came back with me and he said, yes, Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, we can do it. No problem. Guru Maharaj smiled. He said, no, no, I'm joking. You just take me to Chandigarh in the night. And then you stay in Chandigarh with me, and then you can go tomorrow to Delhi back. So we took him to, the Rath Yatra ended at like 8 o'clock. So there, we did not go for Prasadam. I had taken my son with me. He was just 7, 8 years old at that time. So we went, we did not go where I thought it's going to take a lot of time. Because nobody knew us at that time. So we would be in the ordinary line and it'll take ages for the queue, and then Prasadam will take 1 hour. And I did not want to miss Guru Maharaj there. And Guru Maharaj said, I have to go to someone's place for Prasadam. They have invited me. I am a guest there, so I can't invite you. He clearly tells us, I am a guest there, so I can't invite you. So it's, you wait outside for me, and then I will come with you. So we said, fine, Guru Maharaj, always. And then my son was hungry. So I thought what to do. I got from McDonald's, we got French fries from him. And so he had it. So we were sitting in our car. So our car was a Voyager car, a camper kind of a thing. So front Prabhuji and the driver was there, but then he would not, with Guru Maharaj, he would not let the driver drive. He would drive himself. So we had not brought the driver even here. So in the back, it was like you could make a double bed also, and then it was seater, like 8-seater at the back. So it was a van kind of a thing, big. We were sitting in that and waiting for Guru Maharaj. So Maharaj was inside. And then some of the elderly from the family, they came out. And they said, Guru Maharaj told us that you're waiting for him. Please come inside and have. Because this was Guru Maharaj's plan, you see. He told us, that you have to wait outside. And he understood that we did not go for Prasad because we were waiting for him. And then he was worried for our Prasad. So he told them that the couple is waiting outside for me. And they came in and they brought us in. They took us in. And we were so fortunate. We sat on the same dining table with Guru Maharaj, had prasadam with Guru Maharaj, and we were sitting next to him. And my son, me, and my Prabhuji. So we had prasadam with Guru Maharaj, and then it was like 10:30, 11 in the night. We started for Chandigarh. So Guru Maharaj was sitting in front, and he was like, sleeping. And I was telling Guru Maharaj, please, you come and sit at the back. You can relax more. He said, no, no. He always sat in the front. He never sat at the back. So he sat there, and then we started for Chandigarh. We reached Chandigarh by 1:30 in the night. And then Guru Maharaj said, you take rest and you meet me in Guru Puja. But Guru Maharaj did the Mangal Aarti, and we actually came for the Guru Puja then. And then Guru Maharaj arranged everything for us, all the prasadam, everything. And then we met him, and then we started for Delhi in the afternoon. So that is how Guru Maharaj actually blessed. And when he came to our home, it was the first time he came to our home. Uh, in fact, he asked me, "Do you want me to come to your home?" I said, "Yes, Maharaj, it's a dream come true." And then Guru Maharaj came, and I didn't know even how to serve him, because in Punjabi Makkah there was hardly no devotee of from Punjabi Makkah. So others I did not know much. It's the beginning of like in the year 2000, it must be 99 or 2000. So Guru Maharaj said, "You want me to come?" I said, "Yes." And I had not prepared, like I had cut fruits and I had everything from the market, nothing and cooked at home at all. So I served him and he just ate fruits. And that night he must have slept with fruits only. And then we dropped him to the temple. So after that, I started cooking for him. I was not initiated again when he asked me to cook for him. He was coming from Kurukshetra, and he calls up the temple president. He says, who is in the temple? I'm on my way. I'll be staying the night in Punjabi Bagh, and I'm hungry. So who is there in the temple? So the temple president said, Mr. and Mrs. Anand are here. So Guru Maharaj said, tell Mrs. Anand to make soup for me. And the temple kitchen did not have a mixie at that time. So from the neighbors, we asked for a mixie. I blender, and then I boiled the vegetables and I made the soup. And Guru Maharaj loved it. And after that, it became like every time he would be coming to Punjabi Bagh, it was my duty to make soup. And everybody in the big temple knew, and they would ask me, what's the recipe? I said, I myself don't know what the recipe is because I'm not a great cook. I've just learned cooking even for Guru Maharaj only, because I was a business professional, so I did not have time for cooking. We always had a cook in our home, and either we ate out. So I said, I have just learned everything for Guru Maharaj. The soup also, I asked my husband how to make the soup, and he said, put all the vegetables, boil them, and then just blend them and offer. And I did it, it came out extremely, Guru Maharaj loved it. And then I learned everything for him. Even I have offered burnt chapatis to Guru Maharaj because I learned chapatis just for him only. I learned it and I was offering him. And I would say, please, Guru Maharaj, don't take this. It's burnt. I'll get another one for you. And he would rush to get another. He would say, no, it's okay. I like it. But I would immediately get another one and replace it. So likewise it was. And then he was always actually giving us services. Once he was coming from east of Kailash, and since morning I was telling my husband we should get spinach and I want to make spinach soup for Guru Maharaj today. I feel like I want to make spinach soup. And my Prabhu got very nice spinach and I made the spinach soup for him. And at 7 o'clock, I got a call. Guru Maharaj was on his way. Whenever he is on his way to some place, he would actually keep on calling. I'm reaching this time, I'm reaching that time. So he would always give a call. I'll be in the temple within 1 hour, within half an hour. We have just left a big temple. So he would always inform that. And he gave a call and he said, I'm on my way. And Radhika Krpa, can you please make spinach soup for me? I said, Guru Maharaj, it is already made and packed also. I'm just getting that. I have already done it for you. And it was spinach soup I offered him. And it was amazing. I got the services. I had plenty things to speak. I don't know, but time is running away. बहुत कुछ है कहने के लिए. अभी भी Guru Maharaj, जब he went to Dehradun, we got the information. I was doing my sessions. And yes, in the COVID time, 2020, I had just come. For an international preacher also, he blessed me. I had gone to give a lecture in Rohtak. It was 2003 maybe. I was giving a lecture in Rohtak, and then Guru Maharaj, I used to report to Guru Maharaj everything. Whenever I would do, it was earlier to that, because there was a big gathering of 100 people there. First time I was speaking for 100 people. So I just called up Guru Maharaj. I said, Maharaj, I just gave a lecture and everybody appreciated it. It was nearly 100 people there. Guru Maharaj said, I said in Rohtak I gave. He says from the other end, I bless you to be an international preacher. And then he sent me emails. I've got those emails still with me from America. He wrote, and from when I was reporting to him, he wrote, you have my blessings to preach anywhere on this planet. And I thanked him, and then I wanted to fulfill his desire, And in 2007 was the one when my god sister from here, from Sydney, Kadamani Radha Mataji and Vanmali Prabhu, they were visiting Delhi, and they were visiting Vrindavan, they met me. So I wanted to fulfill Guru Maharaj's desires. So they knew I was giving lectures, they liked it. And I said, please, could you fix up something for me? I want to fulfill this desire for Guru Maharaj. She said, sure, we will host you, you come over. And then we got a visa, and Guru Maharaj would ask me every day when the visas were about to be done, has your visa come? He would call me and say, has your visa come, Radhika Krpa? I said, no, Maharaj, not yet. But one day it had finally arrived, and I made it to Sydney. And then after landing here, I gave him a call, that I've landed safely in Sydney. Before even calling my Prabhu, I would call Guru Maharaj only. I said, I've landed. And Guru Maharaj said, I'm traveling to America now. I'm at the airport. Soon they will take away my phone for security check. And after the security check, I will again talk to you. And then I could hear the phone going for the security check. And then after that, Guru Maharaj again called me up and talks to me. And he would speak to me. And then that is how this Sydney trip happened. And then when I went back, the Guru Maharaj asked me, he had many times asked me to write a book on Vaishnavism and Sikhism, because I was always, whenever he would quote a shloka from the Bhagavad Gita, I would quote similarly, like a similar quote would come to me in my mind, and I would speak out from the Granth Sahib. And Guru Maharaj is Punjabi, his parents went to Gurudwara, Guru Maharaj went to Gurudwara, he used to go, and he told me all. And then he said, yes, he's been to Golden Temple twice with me, with me and Prabhuji. We went twice to Golden Temple with him. And then he said, I want you to write a book. And I am not a scholar, I knew. And I was not, I just thought Guru Maharaj is just saying for the saying. And our spiritual master never says anything for saying only. It's the first thing, a lesson one we have to learn. He never says to flatter anybody. He never says those words are genuinely meant. If he says those words, they are genuinely meant. And Guru Maharaj said, you write a book. But then I was not listening to him. I was not writing. It was not actually, Google me nahi tha, nothing. You have to do all the research, and with evidences, you had to give out such a book. You could not just simply give out anything in writing like that without evidence. So I was not writing, not taking the pains to write the book. So in 2007, June, when I went back from Australia, I went back in month of June, Guru Maharaj was there. He was supposed to go to America, but before that, he had a meeting in Vrindavan. He invited us to Vrindavan. So Vrindavan mein hum gaye, to there was a meeting in the office of Vrindavan temple. And there was Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, who was Devamrit Prabhu at that time. He was the president from Vrindavan temple. So he was sitting there, and Guru Maharaj introduced us. And he says, you know Radhika Krpa? He said, just like that. And Guru Maharaj said, you know, she's written a book on Vaishnavism and Sikhism. I was looking at Guru Maharaj, what is he saying? I have not written a single word. And that Prabhuji at that time, Devamrit Prabhu, he looked at me and he appreciated it, acknowledged. And I also did my head like this. I said, yes, I've written. I have not written a word. And that day I felt like I promised to myself, I go back to Delhi and I'm going to write the book and offer it to Guru Maharaj on his Vyas Puja in August, just 1.5 months after. And it was a big task. I had to research, write the book, edit it, and then print it, get it printed. So I came back home. I used to sit in my drawing room with all the scriptures around me for 10 to 12 to 13 hours a day. Would not get up even from that sofa for the whole day. And I started writing the book, compiling it penning it down, and everything had to be typed in the laptop. So I wrote a 118-page book, got it printing last minute also. Printer, I'm at the printers, he's asking me, give the final. If we don't print it today, you will not get it. And I'm making the headings of the book. And I'm writing the headings for the book, and then finally the book goes for printing. It comes out. I have that video on my Instagram, where in 2007 Vyasa Puja, I offered the book to Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj is so happy. He takes the book and he tells me, go on the mic and speak out. Tell everybody about your book. And After that book was there in that same year, in October, there were meetings, and he goes to the GBC meetings. He's there, RGB meetings maybe, but Jayapataka Maharaj was there, and Jayapataka Maharaj was all hale and hearty at that time, very healthy. And he tells Jayapataka Maharaj that Radhika Krpa has written a book, because Jayapataka Maharaj also knew me very well, and he wanted a book for Punjabis to come up. And that he said, I'll just show you, one copy is left with me. That's my personal copy that I'm just traveling with. So he saw that Guru Maharaj told Jayapataka Maharaj, and Jayapataka Maharaj immediately after the meeting in the middle of night, 11:30, he calls me. His servant calls me, Maharaj, baat karenge. And Jayapataka Maharaj says, Radhika Krpa, your Guru Maharaj just told me you've written the book. How many copies would you give me? I said, as many as you want, Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj tells me, go, give him. And I'm giving 50, 100 copies to Jayapataka Maharaj. He took it all over the world. He took it to Hong Kong, London, everywhere. He took the book. And then Guru Maharaj, he said, you keep on writing. You are a gifted writer. I had never in my life written a book or anything in my, school time. I still have my school teachers on my Facebook. They're still alive. They tell me, they send compliments to me saying you have surpassed your teachers. I said, wow, it's all Guru Maharaj can do it. Nobody else can do it. In the coming days, if I have chance, I will narrate the stories from Granth Sahib. I used to narrate to Guru Maharaj. I used to tell him that I want to be like that. Does this happen? I would question him. And then he would give me the answers. In fact, for the first Vyas Puja, we were not initiated at that time. Guru Maharaj invited us personally. He said, you must come for my Vyas Puja. And we reached there like we thought it is just we asked, what is it? They said it's Guru Maharaj's birthday celebrations. And we thought birthday celebrations, it's whole day. We can go anytime and give the gift and come back. We thought that way. So we reached there like 11 o'clock. I had taken a gift. My Prabhu was supposed to hand that gift. And I had personally painted a small Krishna painting and written a poem for Guru Maharaj. And I took that. I've got my poem framed. It was in a frame, and I took it. So we were sitting in the crowd. We entered at 11, and auditorium was filled. It was all full, and there was no place to sit and nothing. We were standing at the back. And I don't know, Guru Maharaj, how he spotted us there. And a devotee from the stage comes and he says, Guru Maharaj is calling you on the stage. And when we reached on the stage, Guru Maharaj says, why did you come late? The first thing he asked me, why did you come late? I had no answer to it. And then I said, Maharaj, this is for you. He says, give her the mic, she'll read it. That was my first, on the stage. He gave me, and 1,000 people are there, and he tells me to read the poem. And I had written the poem on Guru. And that was a beautiful poem. He said, it's very nice, very beautiful. And then I read that poem to him. And after that, it became that every Vyasa Puja, I would write a poem for him. And he would tell me to come on the stage and read it. If by chance anybody does not invite me on the stage, because the ladies were usually given no chance to come, but he would make it a point, he would tell them, call Radhika Krpa on the stage. She'll read the poem. And we were in, there was 2003, there was Guru Maharaj Vyas Puja in Bombay. At there, Guru Maharaj, as usual it was, they did not know that I would be speaking, and they did not invite me on the stage. The Vyas Puja was about to be over. And Guru Maharaj looked at me and sent a servant to me. You have your poem ready? And I said, yeah. Guru Maharaj said, call her on the stage. She will read her poem. So I went on the stage and read the poem. And once we were in Mayapur Parikrama, there are many stories, Prabhuji. I think so whole night will go away.
Do you remember the first poem you wrote for Guru Maharaj?
That's Guru. I don't exactly remember all the lines. It is there in my work.
I read it somewhere.
It was recently also in the books is there. It's on my, I'll Google it out here. It is there on my, in my album here. So then I was in Mayapur Parikram, first Parikram, 2002 or 1 it was. So we had gone 2. One we got initiated, 2002, first Parikram. And I would run around I carried a video camera with me. At that time, video cameras were not as compact as you have. They were a bit bigger in size. And my Prabhuji said, I'm not going to carry it. It's your responsibility. I said, I want to make videos of Guru Maharaj. He said, it'll be your responsibility. Don't tell me to carry this during the parikrama. So I said, don't worry, I will take it myself. I would be in the front. I would run, make the video, and then run again, be in the front to make the video. Guru Maharaj and Jayapataka Maharaj would lead the parikram. So always I would be running ahead of them and making videos. And then Guru Maharaj gets very conscious when you make videos or click pictures. He would turn around. And I used to tell Guru Maharaj, Maharaj, I have got many pictures of your shikhas. And Guru Maharaj laughed at me and he said, it's not my fault, Radhika Krpa. It is the fault of the photographer. I said, I've got many pictures of your shikha. And then he would... And then Jayapataka Maharaj would come into the camera. I have those videos. He would come inside the camera and say, Radhika Krpa making movie. She's spying on me. And such a hilarious moments were those, no? I was once parikram mein, I was there. So in this parikram only, it was 12 days parikrama. First, it was such a, like, first time we were going in such a harsh, like, us time pe Gaur Purnima was also very late. It was 28th April, March. So बहुत गर्मी थी. It was extremely hot. And we were doing parikrama and Guru Maharaj looked at our faces, red faces, every hand pump we would stop and wet the towel and put it on our head, And Guru Maharaj looked at us, both of us, husband, wife, and he said, people who are used to AC rooms, it's very difficult for them to do the parikrama. I said, yes, Maharaj. And then he said, I'm worried about both of you. And then I said, फिर उसके बाद में my husband got fever the next day. He got fever and I left him in the room. I said, I'm going for the parikrama. You take care of yourself and go. You can manage it yourself. But I have to go for the parikrama. I cannot miss. Mangal Aarti, Guru Maharaj is going to do there. I'm going to make a video of that. Then the parikrama, I'm going to be there. And I went for the parikram. And there was, now he's a sannyasi, Eklavya Prabhu. He's become a sannyasi, he's Loknath Maharaj disciple. So he was a strict brahmachari. He would not let anybody come near a sannyasi. And I was making a video and he would not let me come near Guru Maharaj to make the video. He would say, all the females, go at the back, go at the back. And I had a small tiff with him. I said, he said, give the camera to some brahmachari. I said, if he runs away with my camera, who's going to get it? And so I just had this talk with him and he would not let me. And in the evening, every day in the evening, Guru Maharaj would give darshan at 8 o'clock in his rooms. So we would go to take his darshan. That day also I went. I said, Maharaj, he puts up a fight. He never let me make videos of yours. And Guru Maharaj said, he's a very strict brahmachari, let it be. So, but I said, I managed to do it. And Guru Maharaj just smiled away, I would say. And he would, for any problem, he would say, talk to Jayapataka Maharaj, tell him. And I said, okay. और फिर वो परिक्रम में I was, once what happened, we were in the boat. So boat से नीचे उतरे तो सामने coconut वाला था. So I just immediately rushed to him and I bought a coconut for Guru Maharaj. I wanted him to have. So I got it. He just took one sip. He said, it's not sweet. So I immediately told that guy, no, give another one. I took that from Guru Maharaj. ऐसे करके 3 coconuts हो गए. Guru Maharaj says, it's not sweet. Again and again he says, it's not sweet. I had 3 coconut Mahaprasad with me. And I drank all. So that was Guru Maharaj's blessings actually. He was doing this pastime, saying it all the time. He would never, वो तो फीका खाना भी खा जाते थे. He would never say, ask, और ज़्यादा salt भी डल के, then also he will eat it. He will never complain. But then I understood later that he was just being merciful to me. He was again and again saying, it's not sweet, it's not sweet. And I was getting another one, and gave another one. And then I wrote a poem on my way to Mayapur. I wrote a poem on death. So that was, when I wrote that poem, we were sitting in the boat again with Guru Maharaj. We were crossing Ganga in the parikram. So because at that time, it was Tamal Krishna Maharaj passed away. He met with an accident when we were there. So I had written the poem, but I did not show it to Guru Maharaj because the mood was very pensive there. Everybody was in a grief. Because we had Tamal Krishna Maharaj's body was brought to Mayapur temple and we were there. We did his parikram, we touched his feet. And there was, samadhi was done. And we attended the samadhi ceremony, everything. So everything was happening. And then after many days, when Guru Maharaj was again in our boat, Guru Maharaj was saying, I don't, they asked for our board to come to Guru Maharaj. We were asking, Guru Maharaj, please sit with us in our board. He said, I don't sit with ladies, he said. And then what happened, Guru Maharaj's board got actually kharab ho gaya. Guru Maharaj had to move into our boat. And then he sat on our boat. And then I handed over my poem to him. I gave it to Balram to show it to Guru Maharaj. So I have a video where I made a video and Guru Maharaj is reading my poem. He turns it back and on that paper he writes 100 out of 100. Very good. One day publish all your devotional poems. And then the paper, I still have it with me. And then in 2006, I wrote many poems till by then. And then I made a book and offered it to him. That was Pearls of Devotion. I offered it to him. So likewise, I think so we should end. Abhi bahut kuch reh gaya hai. The 2020 lockdown was main that came up. I could not preach outside. I could not travel. I had just come back from London and Abu Dhabi in 2020, March. That was February 2020. And 2020 March, 22nd March, the lockdown happened and we were all at home. So, and everybody was so disturbed. The Guru, and then my Prabhuji and I were sitting and he said, why don't you help people? Guru Maharaj gave you the blessings. You should preach here. Go on the net and preach the word. I said, I don't know, I have a habit to speak without live audience, I never speak. So he said, just try, go and do it. And you won't believe it, I went, not in the room, I went upstairs on the terrace. I said, at least nobody will see me speaking into the camera. Only the camera, they were saying, she's gone mad, she's just gazing and speaking. But then when I joined Facebook, 700 to 800 people started coming every day for the lectures and talks. They wanted, and they were all new to ISKCON. They didn't know what ISKCON is. And they had so many queries. I was answering their questions. And then they said, we want you in the evening also. Then I would go in the evening also live. So every day it was like 3-4 hours on the net, speaking to people. And then I made a WhatsApp group with them. I said, do you, after some time, I told them, do you want to be in a WhatsApp group with me? I taught them how to chant. I would chant around with them. And then on the surfing only one person boy, he wrote that I was about to commit suicide, but I just came across your lecture. And then it became a family. I would read their names, everybody. Every day I would read their names. I could see these people repeating names. That means they are coming every day. The repetition, you could understand these names I've read earlier, though they are here. And then those started actually helping that boy. They said, no, you be here, listen to her, you will be okay. And drop the idea. They're comforting each other here online with me. It became a family. And then when I said, you want to come on the WhatsApp group, immediately I got 1,500 names. My daughter-in-law helped me. We were manually feeding all the names in my phone, making groups out of them. And then I spoke to them in the groups. Personally, I spoke to many. 1 hour, 2 hours, I would give them, talk to them. Now some of them are initiated. They met Guru Maharaj. For the first time, there's a boy from Mauritius. He came to India, first time to Mayapur, Vrindavan. First time meeting Guru Maharaj, got initiated. He was already chanting 16 rounds. He was already doing service in the temple, but he had not met his spiritual master as yet. And he got initiation. There are many like this. They came for the first time and they entered the temple for the first time. There is a Mataji who went to the temple and she said, I want to give a donation of 2 lakhs. And he said, what receipt I should give? She says, Radhika Krpa. He says, you are not Radhika Krpa. She says, because of Radhika Krpa, I am giving it. So, receipt in her name. And then the devotee calls me up and he says, there is a Mataji, she's giving a donation. She says, she's from your group. I said, and then I came to know. Then I told Guru Maharaj that I have so many people watching my lectures. And the next line from Guru Maharaj, it's worth listening. Guru Maharaj tells me, do you want to become a devotee or a celebrity? I said, devotee. So I said, I've understood, Guru Maharaj. I should not worry about the views. I should be more worried about how many people are becoming devotees. Yeah. So that's what Guru Maharaj meant me to check. That is what a spiritual master is. He checks you on all the issues all the time. And then in August, when Bhadra Purnima marathon came, he calls me up. He says, Radhika Krpa, I want you to do Bhadra Purnima marathon, the Bhagavatam marathon. and I want you to do 1,000 Bhagavatam sets. I said, Maharaj, that's a lifetime program. I've never done one Bhagavatam set in my life till now. I've never distributed Bhagavatam. He said, your target is 1,000, and I'll just let Mohanrupa Prabhu give you the link. He'll talk to you, give you the link, start the marathon. And you won't believe it, in the first week itself, I had done 120 Bhagavatam sets. I just told my group, we have to get Bhagavatam in our homes if we want to. Because to me, Guru Maharaj had said, if you touch Bhagavatam, you'll purify yourself. I had not read Bhagavad Gita also at that time when I got Bhagavatam in my home. Because Guru Maharaj said that. And now he said, you have to do. And that year we did 425 Bhagavatam sets and 6,000 Bhagavad Gitas. And everybody is glorifying me before Guru Maharaj. I said, wow, she's done so many Bhagavatam. Guru Maharaj says, her target is 1,000. इनका target बहुत ऊंचा है. That's recorded in the video, in the lecture he's giving. He says, इनका target बहुत ऊंचा है. And I said, yes, Maharaj. Next year came, we did like 626 Bhagavatam sets with 15,000 Bhagavad Gitas. And still Guru Maharaj was not satisfied. He said, target abhi bhi 1,000 ही है. उसका next year आया 2022, we did 525 Bhagavatam sets with again 18,000 Bhagavad Gitas. Last year we did 565 Bhagavatam sets with 20,500 Bhagavad Gitas. Guru Maharaj, abhi bhi he was not satisfied. This year we did 800 Bhagavatam sets for his pleasure. And next year we target to 1,008 Bhagavatam sets for him. So that is how our Guru Maharaj is. So powerful. Because what he says, it's going to happen. So once he was coming to Punjabi Bagh, I'll just tell you a very, something jovial and then we'll end. Guru Maharaj came to Punjabi Bagh temple for book distribution, prize distribution for the book marathon. So he came and I received him. But I do my all Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam marathon with the big temple. I don't do it with Punjabi Bagh temple. So I do it with them. So Guru Maharaj came, we received him, and he was supposed to go for the lecture and then the distribution. So I left. I said I'll watch online because I'm not going to get any prize here. So I just left. And I was watching online. And after some time, Guru Maharaj giving lecture, he immediately says, where is Radhika Krpa? Is she here? Is she here? And I'm sitting at home and I'm watching and now I said, oh, Guru Maharaj is calling me and I'm not there. And everybody telling Guru Maharaj, she's not there, she's left. Guru Maharaj said, okay. And then the morning Bhagavatam class he was giving in Punjabi Bagh. So I went to see him again at Guru Puja. And after after Guru Puja, he was going to his room and he tells me, where were you yesterday? I was calling your name. I said, Maharaj, I was not supposed to get any prize here. And my role was not with this temple. So I just left that you will be doing prize distribution. He said, I wanted you to speak here. I wanted you to come on the mic and speak. And I wanted to know them that you have done so many Bhagavatam sets. And I said, Guru Maharaj, then after this Bhagavatam session, you can speak about me. He looks at me and he says, I'll have to fit you in. And in the same tone, I said, yes, Guru Maharaj, then fit me in. And then it was between both of us. And the Bhagavatam session when over, no? Guru Maharaj says and looks in the crowd and says, is Radhika Krpa here? And he says, Radhika Krpa, how many sets did you do this year? And then I'm telling, and then he says, इनसे पूछना इन्होंने कैसे किए हैं. Give her the mic and she'll tell you. It was so hilarious, And I missed those days when it was simply hilarious. We have so many things to say, but I think so children are getting impatient, they are tired. We will end the session now. And more stories some other day we'll do. So Guru Maharaj is always there in our hearts. Then there is another that he gave services. My Prabhu's name is Rasa Priya Das. So little did I know that he would be actually doing the most aesthetic work for it's aesthetic and it's theistic. It's not atheist, it's theistic. Aesthetic hai, but theistic for Krishna. So Guru Maharaj gave him this service to make temples. So Bahadurgarh temple was to be made, and then Guru Maharaj said Rasa Priya would do it. And my Prabhu was the interior designer, the architect, everything for that temple. And then that temple came up and Guru Maharaj was very happy with the temple. And the color combinations, I told Guru Maharaj, they are mine. And he said they're very nice, very beautiful. And then he gave the Bahadurgarh temple ke baad mein Badshahpur temple, that's Gurgaon ka temple. That my Prabhuji made, and Guru Maharaj said it's very beautiful. Bibi Govind Maharaj said it's very beautiful. Then he made Faridabad temple, and then he made this Rohini temple. So then Rohini temple was the masterpiece that has been said, declared by Radhanath Maharaj, by Guru Maharaj himself. He said this is the most beautiful temple in ISKCON. Radhanath Maharaj also said, and Guru Maharaj said it's the most artistic temple in ISKCON. And it's worth seeing, it's very, very beautiful. It's the last, Guru Maharaj ne jab wo temple ban gaya, he said, this is the 18th temple and my service is over now. He said that because Prabhupada wanted I should get 18 temples, 1 dozen to 18 temples in Delhi, and I have done it now. That is the 18th temple. He said, my services, I've offered my Guru what he asked for me. And he finished that. And see, it was April 17th, the temple opening. 5th May, he goes away. He was there for, and he was telling my Prabhu, don't delay this temple. And my Prabhuji said, never Maharaj, it will not be delayed. It will open on time. If you will watch the videos in February and March, temple altars were yet to be done, a lot of work to be done. And till the last day, even the head pujaris from those who were to do Seva Tulya Prabhu and all, they had to do the Pran Pratishtha. And they were telling Maharaj, ये हो ही नहीं सकता, ये मंदिर खुलेगा, ये मंदिर बन altar हो ही नहीं सकता, इतनी क्योंकि अभी बहुत काम है. And my Guru Maharaj calls up my Prabhuji and says, will you be able to do it? नहीं तो हम date change करना पड़ेगा. My Prabhu said, don't worry Maharaj, we will open in time. You don't worry, I'll get everything done. And everything was done. And Guru Maharaj was so happy. I still have the videos when he said, where is Rasapriya? Do you all know Rasapriya? He's made a Khubsurat, a beautiful temple. And Guru Maharaj wanted that. We had so many, like he spent 5-6 days and I was there every day. We were there, we would go into his room like so many times in a day, meet him, talk to him. It was wonderful, it was. And then last when he gave in America also, to a Zoom session he did from his car. He was traveling from Rohini back to Big Temple. He missed the prize distribution that was to be, we were getting the prizes for our Bhagavatam marathon. And Guru Maharaj was in Rohini. But he said, carry on, and Prabhuji carried on. And then from my group, many people had traveled from like overseas or from like other states for the prize from Guru Maharaj. They were expecting. And now they wanted to at least have darshan of Guru Maharaj. So Guru Maharaj said they wanted to take look at the Rohini temple, and I said, Guru Maharaj, they can come to Rohini and have your darshan there. So Maharaj said, no, that doesn't look nice. I'm coming to Big Temple. Tomorrow morning I will meet them. Then he kept on calling me from from his car. And he said, I will come and I'll meet them personally. And never ever he meets at 8 o'clock in the morning, because that time he's actually doing if he's not giving class, he does his deity worship and he goes for a walk, or maybe not walk, he will never meet at 8 o'clock at least. So in the afternoon later he meets everybody. So, but he said, I will meet your group at 8 o'clock, because some had trains, some had flights in the evening to go back in the afternoon, because they had come from Bombay, Hyderabad and everywhere. So he said, no, I will meet them at 8 o'clock. And then Guru Maharaj met some of the members from my group at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then he gave a message. He speaks in the camera and he makes it a point to wear the mic. He said, with the mic only I will speak. And then that was on he spoke, that was 21st, and on 28th also he spoke. So 21st he gave a message, and 28th was the last message he gave to my group. So that is on the Instagram. He speaks it and he says, you will have my association, because the question came up from one of my group members. She asked, she's initiated, and she asked that those who are not present here right now, they linger for your association. So how would they get your association? So Guru Maharaj said, if you keep on listening to me, keep on listening my lectures, you get my association. Vani is important, Vani and Bapu is important, but Vani is more important. So you all get my association with my lectures if you keep on watching the videos. And if take darshan online of Mayapur deities, Panchatattva, and listen to my lectures. And it was as it was my group, so he was telling them, you will be in the best association, you will get the blessings if you keep on coming to Radhika Kripa's morning program online. And then that old transcribed message is there and he's speaking, the video is there. So it was his blessings that he gave such a big service to me. And that's what me and my Prabhuji always linger for services till our last breath. And there is that Gurgaon temple, he's making another one, and a Yamuna Nagar temple. So 2 temples more coming up, one near Delhi and one in Delhi again. So that is Guru Maharaj's blessings upon us. And we are very fortunate, those who are aspiring from Guru Maharaj, they were aspiring, those who are initiated, they're all very, very fortunate that we have such a, because अभी तो मैंने आपको वो सब नहीं बताया जो miracles हैं गुरु महाराज के, जो गुरु महाराज ने miracles किए हैं life में. I've got so many stories in my life that have happened. So many things with me happening, with my children, with my parents, with my mother. जब 2007 में I came here, my mother got, actually she lived alone in a very big house. We are just 3 sisters, no brother. So she never would go to her daughter's house. And she was in her like early 80s, completing her 70s. She had just stepped in 80 and she was very frail, but she lived alone. And she had maids and servants who were not permanent, she would not keep anyone, just a chowkidar would be there at the gates, a watchman. And she lived alone. The maids would come in the evening, stay till morning, they would come till evening, they would stay and then they go away. So, and she would never come to us. She actually, there was some people who were, some man who was keeping, stalking her, and he knew what's, she lives alone and she's a rich lady. So he entered the house and he, in the morning, it was daytime, and he strangulated, tried to strangulate her. And she was, she got unconscious and he thought that she has died. And in the meantime, this watchman had gone to the market because he knew everyday routine, he must be keeping a watch. That the watchman, usually my mother would send him to the market to get the things, because that time she knew the maid would come. So maids, when maid would come by 10:30 or so, and the watchman would go by 9:30 or so. So that person knew that 1 hour she's all alone, and he made it a point to enter the house. He rang the bell and went inside in the driveway and hid at the back. And she went to the gate to see who is there ringing the bell. And he entered the house in the meantime. When she entered back, he was there behind the door. And he pounced on her and he tried to strangulate her. So then at that time when she felt unconscious, that maid, she came over and she said, Mataji, Mataji. And then he got scared and he ran away. And when then my mother, she was brought to hospital, and the doctor said that she will lose her voice because her vocal cords have got pressed. And we can't operate on her because she's very old and she's frail. No operation can happen. The vocal cords have actually got, compressed. So, and I went back from here and I would speak to her, though we could not understand what she was saying. So it was gha gha karke tha, the voice would come. So we couldn't understand what she's speaking. So I just had darshan of Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj was coming to Punjabag. I had written a mail to Guru Maharaj and told him all on the mail in America. And when I reached back, Guru Maharaj also had come back. So I went to see Guru Maharaj. And I took my mother along. So we were in the temple in Punjabi Bagh. So it was night time. Guru Maharaj had just arrived. So he came like by 9 o'clock to the temple. So morning he was supposed to give Bhagavatam. But I took my mother at 9 only. So my mother was there with me and I saw Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj gave her a garland. He was wearing a garland. He gave his garland to my mother. And then he tells me, go and get some prasad. So I went inside. The deity kitchen was locked. And no devotee was there. Everybody had gone to rest and there was no Mahaprasad there. I said, Guru Maharaj, I can't find anything. He said, there's a snack bar. Go to the snack bar. I went to the snack bar. They were left with nothing but ice cream. He says, go get that only. I got ice cream for my mother. And he says, give it to her. I gave the prasad to her. Her voice was back after a few days. And when she passed away, her voice was better than what she had earlier. She had a full voice. She lived many years after that, 7, 8 years. She passed away in 2019 on the Ekadashi day, 1st January Ekadashi. She was, her death also is actually, I wrote about her and it was on the dandavats.com. I wrote the full article on her and I sent it to Dandavats. So Dandavats, I got a message back whole day just after Prabhupada's main article they put on the up there. So they had placed my mother's picture and the article just below Prabhupada. They said the whole day it will remain there for the blessings. And she passed away on Tuesday. That was the 1st of January, 2019, Ekadashi. On Friday evening, she started saying she had a nice tea party at home with all the sisters, all of us together. And then she just said to me, I'm leaving for my home. I'm going home. I'm going home. And I said, she says, I don't know the way, so, but I'm going home. So I felt something is happening, she will leave. So in the morning, I checked with her nurse that how is she. Immediately in the morning, I called up. She said she's unconscious. She's not speaking anything. I went to see her. I called the doctor. Doctors came. They said maybe there is some medication issue. We will change the medicine. Otherwise, the blood pressure is fine. Everything is fine. We'll get all the tests done. Her age, I don't want to take her to the hospital for no cause. So, and all the blood tests and everything happened. When they pricked the needle, she just did touch like this. So we thought that she's okay inside. Maybe it's something for the medication. Earlier also once it happened that she felt unconscious for a few, like one day, and then she revived back. So he said, we'll do all the tests. Let's see her other test, everything. So her test came normal. The blood test and all the report came by Sunday. Everything was normal. And then I said, we can't feed her now. She's unconscious. So वो feed करेंगे तो it'll go like, how will we feed her? So he said, okay, we will see for it. And then we'll put a drip and we'll get the drip here, nurse here at home only, not to take her to the, because there is nothing, except the old age, nothing is there. So I called up Guru Maharaj. That was on Saturday only. I called up Guru Maharaj. I said, Maharaj, please pray. If Krishna wants to take her, he may take her peacefully. I don't want any ventilators to be put up. So Guru Maharaj said, you also pray. I said, but Maharaj, your prayers will be heard. You pray. And then ऐसे करते करते the Tuesday morning, it was Ekadashi. I cooked the prasada. I came to her only. I said, me and Prabhuji, we sat there only. We will eat here only. But then there was no recovery from her end. And doctor was coming with a nurse and everything for the glucose drip to put. And as the doctor came, he checked her up and he said, she's going. It's just 1.5 hours left. She will gone in 1.5 hours. And then already the chip was playing, Prabhupada chip, Kirtan was playing. And we all started doing Kirtan. I told everybody not to cry. We will all do Kirtan. We started doing Kirtan. And the doctor had put the blood pressure machine on her. And just after like 1.5 hours, as he had said, we were doing Kirtan. And I saw her, she was lying unconscious. And her legs, she gave a jerk to herself. It was like rising from the bed. And she gave a jerk and she fell back on the bed, like just in a second. And then her eyes were actually open. They were not closing. We were trying to close it. She was unconscious, but the eyes were open. And when the soul moved from the part, it came up, and then her eyes closed and mouth opened. And she went. That was her end. So I called up Guru Maharaj, I told him. And then he said, I said, we should do what kind of cremation? He said, the soul is gone, so it doesn't matter. You go with electric cremation or you go with the wood fire. It doesn't matter. So we went, and Guru Maharaj told the devotees, go and do Kirtan. And the devotees came up and all the Kirtan happened. So likewise, my mother had a glorious end. So this is how Guru Maharaj's blessings are. So if one becomes a devotee and has a bona fide spiritual master, the life is sorted. There are many, many beautiful stories more to say, but I know it's getting too long because I can keep on going for ages. That is my best, and that is what best I can do. This is only the best I can do, glorify my Guru Maharaj. Because he is not from this world and he is still there with us. Provided Guru Maharaj said, if you keep on chanting, and you remember my pranam mantra, keep on chanting and say my pranam mantra, you are connected to me. You will never be disconnected. So we are very fortunate to have found him on this. And he would tell me, I was preaching online and these people were becoming devotees, and Guru Maharaj would say, call me and say, what do you tell them, Radhika Krpa? What do you tell them about me? They haven't met me even. And don't, I'm not a miracle. I'm not that Baba. I said, yes, Guru Maharaj, I don't say anything like that. I'm not a magician. I said, no, Guru Maharaj, I never tell them that you're a magician. I know, Guru Maharaj, what you are. We know it. And he would never acknowledge that he is such a great personality. He was so humble. That is why when he left this world, the big temple had around about 60,000 to 70,000 people in the temple. People everywhere. Big serpentine lines to have Guru Maharaj darshan. Whole night we were sitting there and whole night darshan was open. 4 kilometer long line थी गुरु महाराज के दर्शन करने के लिए, for his, just to have a glimpse of him. And in fact, I had to call my daughter at middle night, Gurgaon, at 2:33. She said, I want to come and have darshan of Guru Maharaj. I said, don't come before that because you will not get an entry. Come by 2:30, 3 o'clock in the night. Alone she drove at 2:33 with her son and she came for darshan of Guru Maharaj. And when we took him to Vrindavan, it was both the sides from Chitikara Road, crowds and crowds, people in a line from whole of the roads in Vrindavan. They were jam-packed because Guru Maharaj was coming. Everybody wanted to have his darshan. So Guru, he actually was a glorious spiritual master. And was worth we can't use for him. He's still here very much. So we end it. All glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. So thank you, everybody. And there is this book, ye jab print hua, tribute to Guru Maharaj, this is Back to Godhead. Prabhu is telling me he's getting many copies here soon. I to just could travel with you. इसमें article है रोहिणी temple पर. There are 3 articles. One is on Prabhupada, one is on Guru Maharaj, and one is written by me on Rohini temple. So whenever there was a temple opening, Guru Maharaj would tell me, write an article. Radhika Krpa, you write an article. और गुरु महाराज उस आर्टिकल को खुद सुनते थे पहले, वो प्रिंटिंग के लिए जाए उससे पहले गुरु महाराज would hear it from, and he would actually read it first. तो ये आर्टिकल जब लिखा तो I went to him. He said, many times he asked me, it's ready? I said, yes, Guru Maharaj, it's ready. So just before going to Dehradun, 2 days back, I went to him. I said, Maharaj, the article is ready, and will you read it? He said, no, I will not, I cannot read, it's too long. It's very difficult for me to read these days, such a big article. Then I said, Guru Maharaj, do you want me to read to you? So Guru Maharaj said, do you want, I said, you read it, Guru Maharaj, will you read it? He said, no, I can't read such a big thing. These days I get tired when I read, I can't read. So I said, Guru Maharaj, do you want me to read it to you? He said, yes, go ahead, read it to me. And there were just 3 of us, my Prabhuji, my Guru Maharaj and I. And I was busy reading it, and I could not look at my Prabhuji to please click the video of, I wanted to see Guru Maharaj's reactions. And he was too engrossed in listening to this. And I was reading, and Guru Maharaj was closed, he had closed his eyes, my Prabhu said, and he was listening very intently. And jab pura sun liya, Guru Maharaj said, you're a gifted writer, you have written a very beautiful article. And he could remember, and my Prabhu's name coming here, like in this article, 3 times. And he tells me, Rasapriya's name is 3 times in this article. I said, Guru Maharaj's wife has written the article. And he again laughed. And he would laugh. I would say such things and he would laugh over. I said, Guru Maharaj, his wife has written articles. Everybody knows that his wife has written. And then he said, it's a very beautiful article you have written. So this, little did I know that this article will come here as a tribute to Guru Maharaj. And that I never wanted. But then we can't help it. Guru Maharaj plans. Whatever he planned, it's Krishna's planning and Guru Maharaj's planning. He's serving Krishna there. So we are very blessed that we could offer him what little we had. And still, those who are aspiring, I would say, you are still in the legacy of Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj has, it's your choice what you want to do. But Guru Maharaj has assigned his disciples to be next sannyasis. And they are also equally potent, blessed by Guru Maharaj. So we should not be disheartened that Guru Maharaj is not there. He is there with us all the time. And we are blessed to be associated with him. In his shelter we are. गुरु लास्ट तक जब तक डिसाइपल को ले नहीं जाते हैं तब तक गुरु नहीं जाते हैं अपने लास्ट डिसाइपल को लेकर जाते हैं तो ही इज ऑलवेज देयर and he will take us back to Godhead surely. If we keep on chanting nicely, we follow his instructions nicely, then only we can go back to Godhead. And Guru takes it, it's his responsibility. Guru ke bina gati hai hi nahi. Guru seve te Thakur jane. Without serving the Guru, one cannot know Krishna and one cannot reach Krishna. So in the coming days, maybe I'll speak about Guru Maharaj in few other lectures. How I fit in that, let's see. But I will be speaking because that's my favorite and most favorite topic. I have no other things to say in my life. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai.